Louis's words hurt. Sexton is no job for a woman, he said. Moments earlier, I had so proudly accepted the book of maps from Orville. Then that dark cloud of doubt passed over. I straightened my shoulders and walked out of the church, pretending I hadn't heard a thing. After all, sexton was a volunteer position. It wasn't like I had to dig the graves myself. That task was hired out. And besides, if winter burial was essential, nowadays there were ground-thawing machines. I crossed the gravel road that separated the St. Petri Church from the cemetery. Strong winds lifted my flame-colored hair skyward. The horizon was dark with impending rain and thunderstorms. I looked back at the church. Faces were peering out the entryway window. People were watching me. The gravestones were laid out in rows. I had been warned that the rows weren't straight. It would be a challenge to determine whether there was enough room to bury a vault in any particular plot that might appear on the plat map. All the early stones were engraved in Norwegian. Nearly everyone was named Karl, Lars, Knut, Torvald, Ragnhild, Bertha, and Christina. More recently, French and German surnames had crept in. The family name on the tallest stone was Bjerke. Mette and her two sons, Anders and Per. The father, Lars, was buried out west somewhere. A century earlier, Lars Bjerke had been the first pastor of St. Petri Lutheran Church. Although Anders and Per never married and left no descendants, the graves were well cared for. The family had lived well, for Pastor Lars was enterprising. He grew corn, kept bees, and speculated in timber and land. Their house was spacious and elegant. His mistress and her offspring lived on the other side of the river. Lars Bjerke, it was rumored, had left more than one woman in Norway great with child. The story was old, amusing, and folklorish. I kneeled before the stone, trying to read the faded pencil notations in the map book. The plot, consisting of 4 separate lots, had been purchased by L.O. Bjerke in 1901. 3 lots were occupied by Mrs. Bjerke and her 2 sons. The 4th lay empty. Thunder rumbled. As I felt the first raindrops, I flipped the old parchment pages of the book and found a notation regarding the 4th lot. Pipe sunk, hit casket, it said. Someone was buried there. But who? The rain let loose, and I looked back at the church. My audience had dispersed. I wanted this sexton position to work out. I had a special interest in St. Petri's, even though the congregation was a cesspit of gossip. The sins of one man lay upon my shoulders. Along with my red hair, I might have inherited his sly, sensual nature. Lars Bjerke, it was rumored, was my biological grandfather.